This is a 2004 Rolls Royce Phantom. Yes, I did just pay homage to Doug DeMuro, one of my favorite YouTubers, but I'm also going to reference one of my other favorite guys, Tyler at Hoovie's Garage, who formerly had the title of the cheapest Rolls Royce Phantom in the country. I'm sorry to tell you, Hoovie, this guy has it. Well, I picked up this 2004 Rolls Royce Phantom in Houston for the incredibly crazy low price of only $65,000. It was a miracle how I pulled this off. The guy had it listed for $75,000 on eBay. He had actually sold it, took a deposit on it, but the guy never paid him. I asked him, I said, how much did you get for the car? And the guy told me how much he accepted for the offer, and I told him I'd match it. He said, first person down here with the cash gets it. Well, I hightailed it down to Houston with the cash, met the guy, gave him the money, and he gave me the car, the keys, and the title. And this sucker is mine. So Tyler, sorry to tell you, you don't have the cheapest Rolls Royce in the country. And following in the footsteps of my YouTube heroes like Tavarish and Hoovie, here we are, the cheapest Rolls Royce in the country, and we're gonna find out all the quirks and features of how this thing works. You know, every YouTube video that I found out there, they spend a lot of time telling you about the hood ornament and the exciting way the doors open and the umbrella. I think we've all seen that stuff plenty. I'd like to concentrate on some other things that I don't think has been covered. And no disrespect to Tyler, who did some great coverage on his car, on his Rolls Royce. But I think that he didn't have enough time to really drive around in the car and talk about some of the interesting things that I want to talk about. Now, I've been driving this car, I've been almost living in this car since I got it, and it actually runs pretty good. And I'm really enjoying driving this thing around. There are some things that need to be repaired, of course, and we're going to be working on those. And if you are interested in these type of cars, this is a good time to subscribe because you know, typically my fans see these DeLoreans and Night Riders and, you know, the Mystery Machine and the A-Team van, all that kind of stuff. But this car is something that I've always wanted. This is a personal dream of mine to own such a car. Who wouldn't want a Rolls Royce Phantom? All right, a little bit about this car. This car, as you can see, is white and black, but that's not the original configuration of this car. Actually, this car is silver and it's been wrapped white and black. The guy that had this car was renting it out for formal occasions, for like weddings and things. He had an entire fleet of exotic cars. He had Lamborghinis, McLarens, all kinds of things. And all of them were white and black like this. That was his look, sort of like I have the black and red. The interior of the car is black leather, which is exactly what I was looking for. And it has this nice wood finish. When you open the door, the smell of the leather just hits you in the face. All right, let's start the video off by talking about these wheels. Now, these are not the factory wheels that come on a Rolls Royce Phantom. The factory wheels would have been a 19-inch wheel with the, as you probably learned, the pack system. The pack system was this run flat system they use on the Bugattis and other cars. It's got like a plastic donut inside and the wheels are foam filled for noise reduction. The problem with these wheels is they don't make the tires anymore. There's only a few service centers that can deal with them, and it costs like $12,000 to change the tires or something like that. It's a real pain in the ass. So most people like this guy just ditched those wheels and went with these aftermarkets. Now, I don't know the name of these. I'm still trying to investigate and find out what they are, but they are aftermarket rims that were designed for the Rolls Royce Phantom because they have these cool little center cap holders. Most of the aftermarket wheels you'll find won't allow you to use the original center caps. And as you know, the Rolls Royce center caps are weighted on a bearing and they stay upright the entire time. Of course, these are black. These are 24-inch rims. They're huge. And they're so big, as a matter of fact. Now, I have the car lifted. The Rolls Royce has a like an air-powered suspension system, and there's a button you can press up on the ceiling that says lift that will raise the car up when you're trying to go over large bumps. Well, if you let the car sit for a while and the air goes out, it'll sit right down on the wheels because they're so big. There has been a tiny amount of little damage here on the fender from the wheels. Something I've learned about the car is the fenders, I believe, are fiberglass. So the fiberglass wraps all the way around the front, and the rest of the car is completely made out of aluminum. Well, the fiberglass has been damaged. If it was metal, it would have just gotten bent. But since we know how to do fiberglass repair, we'll probably get that fixed. I'm not sure what to do about this wrap. There's a few spots in it, like here, where there's some missing pieces and whatnot and some patches, and it's not that good. So we're gonna have to do something about that. So those are some things that we're gonna have to address. But luckily, I don't have to worry about the wheels. These tires are readily available and they're in great condition, and the thing rides like a dream. All right, some of the other things that we need to address on the car is it's got some sort of a fluids leak. I don't know if it's power steering fluid or if it's oil, but it's definitely leaking something, and we're gonna have to figure that out. It's so covered in plastic underneath there, there's no way you could see it. So we're gonna have to get it up on a rack and find out what's leaking on it. But it's running great and everything seems to be working. This little trim ring here is missing. There's a chrome ring that goes on this headlight and it seems to be missing. Very expensive item. I found one on eBay for about 300 bucks, so I'm waiting for that in the mail. And that's used, that's like half price. Also, this headlight, which actually isn't round, it's like shaped like this, but it's behind a round bezel. And there's a chip here in the glass. And I haven't decided what I'm gonna do about that, because this is over, I think it's $3,000, $3,500 for this light, and which is crazy. I found a used one for about $900, but that's still crazy. So I'm deciding whether or not I want to fill this little chip hole with like a windshield repair or just go ahead and replace it. I know that these headlights are very expensive, and these are HID, high intensity discharge lights. And I got to tell you, I guess I've never really driven a car that had true real headlights like this car, because when you're driving it, you don't see the beams on the road like you do with a regular car. You just see a nice white illuminated roadway ahead of you. You don't see the specific points of light from the headlights. It's pretty amazing. They're also self-leveling and self-adjusting, so they adjust themselves based on how the car is sitting. It's a really amazing system, and probably why they charge like $10,000 for the headlights. Now here's a quirk and feature. I don't think anybody's ever talked about it in any of the videos, but the glass is double pane insulated, and you can see there's metal lines etched inside the glass. Well, this is a defroster system just like on the back window of most cars. So when you turn the defroster on, it actually defrosts the side windows as well. That's pretty impressive. Probably not going to use that a lot here in Dallas, Texas, but I can imagine in a place with a lot of snow where you're covered in ice, you need that. But pretty cool. Another thing that's never been shown is the fuel door. Now, I thought to myself, I'm betting that this gas cap is probably pretty expensive. When I visited Rolls Royce the other day, just goofing around, I said, well, how much is a gas cap? I think it's like $500. It's a gas cap. And I was worried that somebody might break in and steal my gas cap. And then I realized there's these little locking points here. When you lock the car, these little bolts go in and lock your door shut so that someone can't steal your gas cap. Now, I'm sure they could pry it open, but at least it prevents them from just opening it. You would expect this to be some sort of powered thing because it's a Rolls Royce, you know, like it presents itself like a Lamborghini door, or you know, like a Pagani or something. But no, it just opens, and that's the fuel door. Of course, the thing that everybody loves about these cars is what they call the suicide doors, but you know, they open from this direction here. And I was disappointed to find I didn't have the umbrella. A lot of people do reviews. They like to point out the fact that there's an umbrella that goes in here. The umbrella is pretty expensive. I think it's about, you know, like $600, $700, $800 or something ridiculous. It's a Teflon coated umbrella that pops out here. The purpose of the umbrella, I found out, is not only to shield you from rain and sun, but a chauffeur might remove this umbrella, and if a lady was getting out of the car with her dress, you would take the umbrella, you would open it and shield her so that she's not indignified. We all remember the photos of Britney Spears getting out of the Lamborghini. Of course, we've all seen the demonstration, but I'll do it anyway just in case you want to see it again. When you get in the car, there's a button you press that closes the door. There's no button to open the door. However, presumably, your chauffeur would open the door for you. Thank you, Jeeves. Now, on this side, I do have the umbrella. So I've ordered the umbrella to fill the other side, but here's the demonstration of the umbrella. I've seen a lot of people take this umbrella out, but I haven't seen one single reviewer ever open it. Has a 2-stage open and close that shields these. From there, you push and the umbrella opens. So for the first time in YouTube history, here is the opened Rolls Royce umbrella. And you would use this to shield Milady as she gets out from cameras. Paparazzi, please stand back. Then you can simply fold this thing back up, and a well-trained chauffeur would be able to do this in seconds. I am not a well-trained chauffeur, but there we go. YouTube history, folks. Not one time. I have searched the internet and I haven't found a single photo or video of that umbrella open. There it is. Also, I think it's been noted before, but the doors are soft close. So if you just get it close enough, it just kind of sucks itself in. Front door does that as well. So you never slam your door, you simply close it softly. All right, once you're inside, if you choose, you do have the little tray tables. Now, most of the ones I've seen have been like wood or piano black. These are mirrored. It's a mirror, it's glass. It's a mirror, folks. Clearly, this is the Tony Montana version because I'm positive that lines of cocaine have been sniffed off of this glass. I'm going to clean it really well to get that clean. Now, sitting back here, one of the unique things I'm going to show you here in a moment is this has the optional Starlight headliner. I think it was an aftermarket item that someone put in, but it looks fantastic. You also have your individual controls for heat and air conditioning. And then there's a little cup holder that pops out here for your drinks. But that's pretty much the extent of the luxury back here. I don't think anybody's ever pointed out these vents here. There's a set of vents that are in the side pillar that blow towards you, and then the ones over here. Then each person also has their own little mirror back here with opera lights. And then of course you have your lighting, and you have this swing down handle you can grab for getting out. There's a hook here for hanging a coat hanger, but there's also another one right here for hanging yet another. Because, well, people who ride around in Rolls Royces have a lot of nice clothes and coats. You have your own little ashtray here, which I've supplemented the cigarette lighter with a USB charger, which I thought was a brilliant idea. And you have a window control and then a little pocket to put some of your things. Other than that, that's basically it. There is a little pocket below this thing where you can put a magazine or some newspapers and things. But there is no rear controls, there is no refrigerator, there's no curtains, none of that. I mean, you do have an armrest that pops down here that you can lean on, and that's comfortable. But other than that, that's the extent of the luxury back here. Now, this car has 72,000 miles, and I think it is worn fantastically. Black interior, this nice wood interior. I don't know what this wood is, but it's very nice. I remember when I got in, I couldn't open this ashtray, and now that I've gotten it open, I can't get it to close. Okay then. Down here, this little tray, which fits an iPhone perfectly, by the way, you flip this up and you've got some cup holders underneath there. And then, of course, this is the control for the iDrive. As soon as you open it, it opens up your screen. But in order for any of that to work, you must first insert the key. This is the key fob, which I'm told is from a BMW series. I went to the Rolls Royce dealership and asked about getting another key. They told me it would be almost $1,500 for the two pieces, which is the key remote, the cut key, and then programming. Seems a little ridiculous to me. You insert the key and hold the brake, and you punch the button, and the car fires up ever so quietly. And then you are presented with a warning about how to operate. Let me turn the radio down because I know it's going to come on. And immediately cool air begins to waft you into the face. Very nice. Now, I have to tell you, I've been driving around the last couple of days in this thing, and this is the most god-awful navigational infotainment system of any car I've ever been in. You just want to strangle it. But we're going to be addressing that in some upcoming episodes. I'll show you this cup holder, or not a cup holder, this little tray. This thing opens up, and I've got my sunglasses in there. There's a dial pad in here for like a old Nokia phone, which happens to plug into a little cradle in here. Now, I've been told you can replace this whole tray with a different type of tray, but again, very expensive, probably about $1,500. And of course, you have your glove compartment. You press this lockable button, and that opens this. And of course, what do I have? But of course, in here are the controls for the Spirit of Ecstasy, as you've seen in other videos. You can raise and lower your hood ornament, lock it. You can also lock the access to the trunk and adjust the time on your clock. However, my clock is not working, and I'm very upset about that. And it's something that I'm going to have to address. I'm very bummed that that's not working. There is another glove compartment down here by hitting this button. Got some documents in there. There's also a CD changer mounted up in there and a fuse box. We'll get into that later because we're going to have to look at that. And I also find it hard to close this. See? There we go. The radio, you press this button and it fires up immediately, and you have your presets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, AM, FM, CD. And I try to describe the weight of this wheel. It's very heavy metal. The closest thing that I can come up with to describe it is, if you've ever played shuffleboard, those little metal pucks, it feels like one of those in your hand. I mean, it's solid metal. It's very weighted, and of course wrapped in leather, as it's always notated. Stereo sounds great, 15 speaker sound system, but I found that it really doesn't sound that great unless you go into the settings on this thing, and you have to go into, let me see, I forget how you go down, I think. Let me see, entertainment, and you have to go into what's called the Logic 7, and you have to set it to, like max or whatever. But the problem I'm finding is it doesn't seem to remember this, and I have to do it every single time. And it's just a pain in the ass. All right, I want to demonstrate how this iDrive in this thing works that I don't think has been covered by anyway. If you go up with the joystick, it just says, please connect your phone, and it says phone connected. Doesn't make any sense to me. If you go up twice, it returns back to that menu. Well, go up once. Let's try that. When you go to the right, you get navigation, and then it gives you this list, which you don't know what to do with. You go back, and then it'll show you you have to press it really hard. It'll show you your location, and you can back up. And then you go down, takes you to entertainment, where you can go through, like I said, the equalizer, balance and fader, things like that. You can. There's also a weather band here.
Cool times in the mid-70s.
All right, and here's something that I thought was interesting. This particular model has. Let me go back here. It has a television. But the problem is, as you know, well, they don't broadcast television signals anymore. So you can't really watch TV. Although I did find, I think, let me go down here. I think there is a channel that we found that seems to be working. And, whoops, how did I get, oh, this is the worst system ever. How did I go back? Okay, there's the TV.
But this is kind of fun. It's kind of different. He's a frog.
Okay.
He's made of chrome dioxide and green.
How do I get off
and
this
natural
screen?
Black spinel. Isn't that neat? Isn't that cute?
This
Just
way.
something different.
Okay.
Excuse me. Sorry.
This lady just sneezed on TV. How do I get this off the screen?
Something fun.
I don't know. It's impossible to use. But I have a television. Why would I need that? I go back this way. You have, you can, there's your traction control, tire pressure, a couple of different things. But really, this is one of the most useless systems I've ever seen. You know, the information doesn't give you any information. It just really doesn't work. I mean, it's just... But I know this was 2004, and they didn't have the type of technology that they have now, but I gotta tell you, this thing sucks. Now, one of the things I found out about it is I couldn't figure out how to work certain things, like in the navigation, for instance. So what I found out is you have to talk to it. There's a button here on the left of the steering wheel that says talk. And here's something that I don't think anybody has ever referenced about this car. You talk to it. And let me try to, I had a CD in here. The reason I'm going to put it on CD is because I want silence, but I want the volume up. Now watch, I'm going to press talk. Options.
Please speak.
Options.
Please select from the following menus: telephone, navigation, notepad, radio, CD, CD changer, TV. Also use subcommands from the individual menus. Main menu.
TV on.
And you can pay an under $10 stretch payment. See how translucent that is, how incredible the green is?
TV off.
You can take it out, have it inspected, decide for yourself. You have a
I didn't turn it off. Let me try it again.
It's available.
TV off.
Please insert a CD.
There is a pin and there'll be an exact match.
Try this again. Navigation.
Navigation menu.
Options.
Say information. Save or select destination. Destination input. Route selection. Map. Arrows. Scale 5 miles. Or address book.
Cancel. Alright. How do I get off of the TV? Put CD. So, the reason I brought this up was because I was trying to figure out how to access the CD changer, and there was no way to do it. And the way you have to do that is you have to talk. CD changer.
CD changer menu.
Options.
Please say CD on, off, previous or next track, or directly CD 5 or track 3.
So, cancel.
Pardon me?
Go away.
Please repeat your entry or say options.
Cancel. Alright, so it's funny, you could tell they hired some kind of like LA actor. I'd love to know who the guy is, whose voice that is. That's pretty funny. I don't know if other people will agree with me, but I think a lot of the reviewers have driven this car. You find a real sense of peace when you're inside it. There's something about the smell of the leather and the wood, and it's so quiet and vibration free. You know, when I drive my Cadillac CTS-V, which is pretty much a race car, I immediately feel road rage when I'm driving it. I'm sucked into Recaro seats, and I'm in like racing position, and the car is fast and it's tight. I feel the steering, I feel all the bumps, and I just feel like, Argh! But when I'm in this thing, I just feel chill. Matter of fact, it's interesting to me that on the steering wheel of most cars, they want you to hold your hands at 10 and 2, and they even put little thumb rests there for your hands to drive like this. But on the Rolls Royce, they're down here, so you're meant to be chill. You put your hands down here and you relax. Put your elbows on the leather and you relax. And you drive softly with your one little finger. It's just so easy, so luxurious. It really is. And I have to tell you that in just the last few days I've been driving this car, my stress level, my overall stress level has decreased quite a bit. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm telling you it's true. You really do feel absolutely relaxed when you're driving this thing. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the overall controls here. Now, I think it's been addressed before, but if you're watching the video and it's new to you, I'd like to go through them with you. You know, everything in the car is designed to be effortless. For instance, these little valves that open and close the air, they're not actually connected to a cable that actually operates a door or valve for the air. When you move them, it feels like they're not attached to anything, but it's because they operate some kind of other servo that operates a little butterfly thing back in there. It's not actually connected to anything, so it's not instantaneous. When you open it, it takes a second for the little deal to open and for the air to stop. I thought it wasn't working because I pushed it and I still felt air, still feeling it, and now it goes away slowly, very softly. Everything happens softly. Now, same thing with the shift lever. The way you put it in park is you simply push in that button to put it in park. The way you shift into drive or reverse, you pull the lever gently forward, just ever so slightly, and you go down one, and that puts it in neutral, and then let's see, go down, there we go, drive. Apparently it was too gentle, and that lets you move the car. Press it in for park. You know, if you want reverse, you go up. Now when you go into reverse mode, you should see on the screen here this little 3D animation that shows you, you know, it actually shows me my white Phantom. That's interesting. And it shows you a little 3D thing here. And I think, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but we'll try to get a close-up of that later. But anyway, that's how that works. Down below, the windshield wipers, you can do one little mist wipe, which I find very handy. Or if you go up, and it doesn't click, it just goes into different zones. There it is, it's really going now. And you press down to turn it off. Go back down, there we go. Pull it towards you for wash. And I thought the wash was strange because I thought it was broken or something, but the way it's designed, it doesn't spray water on the car. It keeps it isolated, and it comes out of just the blades, which is interesting. I thought that was cool. Down over here on the left side, which you can't see, which I'm not going to show, is the cruise control. You simply can, you can pull it forward to set it, push it forward to accelerate, but if you go up or down with it, it automatically turns it off. The reason it does that is over here to the left. This is the turn signal. Now I want to talk about the turn signal because I think this is important, because when I first started driving the car, I couldn't figure out how the turn signals work. They work in two stages. When you lightly press it, you get a 3-blink lane change. 1, 2, 3, go to this side. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you want to leave it on, you press it a little firmer, you'll feel a little click there, and now it will stay turning until you make a lane change. And somehow it just knows. Now, if you pull it, you also get your bright lights for flashing. You push them, you get bright lights on. The headlights over here, and I can show you this, and you've probably seen this in another video, but usually they're just on auto most of the time. You can put them on and you know, run them manually, but you just leave them on auto and they just automatically work when you need them to work. That's what's great. Now over here on the steering wheel, you have a low button. The car normally takes off in second gear so that it's nice and soft, but if you really want it to have that punch, you put it in low. Below that, nav screen is a nav button, which doesn't seem to be doing anything when I press nav, and maybe because I'm still in the mode where it was doing the 3D scanning of the area here. If I press nav, nothing happens. I don't know what happens when you press nav. Is that supposed to? I don't know what it does. Nav, nothing happens. We have the telephone button. I press the telephone button and nothing happens. The only thing that seems to work is the talk button, which we tried. Now you have volume up and down, and you have track next. So I don't really know how telephone works, and I don't know how nav works. They don't seem to do anything. I need to find out in the manual what makes those work. As far as the dash goes, over here on the turn signal stalk, there's a little I. If you press that I, you can change the graphic here on this little readout. Tells you your average speed, your fuel consumption, your range. And really, range is the only one you want to know. You want to know how far you can get on a tank of gas. So with a half a tank, I still have a 198-mile range. That's great. And over here on the left side, you have some of your, quote, idiot lights. And of course, it's been talked about the power reserve and all those things. Shows you your mileage, the temperature outside, and your trip odometer, things like that. On the radio, it's pretty simple. AM, FM, CD, eject, track back, track forward, preset 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then below you have your controls for, you know, your temperature controls. You have quad zone for upper and lower, which is interesting. So you can adjust. You can have hot feet and cold head, or vice versa. You can adjust these however you want. The middle one is your defroster, which blows out the defrost and also heats the windows. Below that is a recirculation button, defrost button, and an AC off button. Up above you have your PDC lift and the boot eject. And PDC, I think, is, I don't know what PDC. Oh, the PDC is the, like, maybe, what is it? Proximity detection control, parking detection control. I don't know, but that's the little beepity thing when you're parking. All right, I'm going to take you for a little backseat ride along. This is a perspective I don't think anybody's seen. You can see the Spirit of Ecstasy right out there in front of you. And now we're going to put it into reverse. And you should see the little 3D thing. It usually pops up by now. I don't know why it's not. Is that button? Oh, there it is. Okay. So the way this works is it just shows you little colored. I don't have anything really behind me to run into. There we go. There's a fence. And it'll show you the things that are behind you. Now, of course, we've got this horrible sun in our face. This is a really bumpy driveway here by our shop, so forgive the bumpity bumps. You can enjoy your chauffeuring. Where would you like to go, sir? Oh, wait, I got my chauffeur hat. I should put that on. So, I don't want to, I just have the camera on a tripod, so I don't want to, like, take off or drive too recklessly because I'm afraid it'll knock the camera over. Oh, and I have this light on. Let me turn that off. I don't need that. I'm just going to go for a nice drive around the block. I can zoom in on this navigation and it'll show us following around. Ah, so nice, so soft, so quiet. You can hear it's very quiet ride. Let me turn it. I'm getting a little chilly in here. Let me turn this air down. And the thing, there's just not another vehicle. There's not another car you can buy for really any amount of money that I know of, other than the Rolls Royce, that gives you the ride quality. And one of the really cool things about this car is how well it ages. Go down this way here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do a turn around. You know, there's certain things that age really well. Rolexes, Harley Davidsons, things like that. And, you know, the Rolls Royce is one of those vehicles that you can go look at a brand new one that's $600,000 right now, and it doesn't look that crazy different from this one. I mean, it's got a few things that are a little different here and there, but overall, you know, when you see it coming down the road, unless you really know your Rolls Royce, unless you really know what's going on with the fog lights and the dash and those kind of things, your average person doesn't really understand. And I don't know if there's $500,000 worth of cool in a new Rolls Royce as compared to the cost of this one. So let's talk about why now is the perfect time to buy a Rolls Royce Phantom. The depreciation has finally gotten down to the point where you can afford one of these things. You know, there's this rule of depreciation that I use on all of my things, and it's basically this: after about 20 years, no matter what the thing is, it'll usually depreciate down to between 10 to 20% of its overall value. Like my tour bus, for instance. It was probably about $700,000 when it was new, and I got it for about 10% of that when I finally got it. And it's 30 years old. This car is now 15 years old, and it's getting close to 20 years old, and I got it for 20% of its original value of $320,000 at $65, roundabout average. So the idea is that now you can afford to get one of these. It's still a 15-year-old car, but it still turns a lot of heads, and let me tell you, this thing is impressive. And compared to what you would buy for that amount of money, there's not too many things that are as cool as this car. Now, that being said, you have to keep in mind the cost of insurance. I'm paying about $220 a month insurance for this car. And the reason for that is if you get the tiniest little fender bender, this grille can cost $15,000 to $20,000 to replace. Heck, just this little hood ornament is about $3,000. So all of the things for this car are very expensive, and it's very pricey if you have a wreck, but the maintenance really isn't that bad. I did a little bit of research and I found out you can get the oil filter for this thing for $5. You can get the brake pads for less than $50. They're just BMW parts. It's actually really easy to maintain for that kind of stuff. It's the Rolls Royce specific parts, like for instance this little trim ring here, that are costly and a real pain. But as far as just taking care of the BMW V12 motor, that's not that big a deal. I mean, you are going to run into problems where you're going to have to maybe fix this or fix that. But those things can be done, and that's all part of the cost of ownership, because let's face it, it's a luxury vehicle. It's not something that you would be using for any other reason. But I plan on daily driving the car and using it as much as possible. The other thing you have to consider is fuel economy. It's not terrible. It's actually better than my Cadillac CTS-V. And the other thing is, it's just honking huge. I mean, look at me standing behind this thing. It's the size of a full-size truck. It's bigger than my Dodge Dually. It's bigger than my cargo van. It is half the size of my tour bus, which is 40 feet. This thing is 19.5 feet long. So when you park it, it takes up a lot of space. You can't usually park it in just a regular spot. You have to find a special spot that you can cram it into. So it's not something that you want to take down to Walmart for groceries. But let me tell you, as a car, it's so solid, it's so tight, and you can tell how well these things hold up after 15 years. But anyway, I know this was a bit of a long video, but this is just going to be the first in a long series of videos. We're going to be upgrading that nav system to a modern system with Apple CarPlay. I'm going to be fixing all of these little trim pieces. I'm going to fix this oil leak. Maybe we'll unwrap it, maybe we'll rewrap it. I don't know. You're gonna have to stick with us and find out. But we're gonna do a lot of fun stuff with this car. I'm thinking about doing a few prank videos with it, so I've been invited to do all kinds of fun things. And you just have to stay tuned and stay subscribed. And we are working on some other huge projects too. Thanks for watching. I'm Videobob, and see you on the next video.